Hey everyone, welcome back. Our next guest is a Harlem native who made a career out of building spirit brands for others until he took a leap of faith to create something of his own that's new, lasting, and inspiring to others. He set his sights on bringing a new vision to his favorite spirit, tequila, working with the most awarded distillery in Mexico. And he and his team combined traditional methods with new ideas and inspirations to create YaVe. In addition to his passion for his family and YaVe, Joe is a strong proponent for his community and helping young and social entrepreneurs get started on their climb to the top. Here now to tell us more is founder of YaVe Tequila, Joe Cruz Jr. Hello, welcome.
Great morning. That was one hell of an intro. I feel like a superstar right now. My energy's up. I feel good. So thank you for that. It's awesome.
Oh, you deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. Your story is so inspiring. And I am so looking forward to sharing it with our viewers. It's certainly taken long enough, but you've been busy building, and you've done quite a job, I must say.
Yeah.
So let's just start with your humble beginnings. Let's give it to them from the very beginning.
Well, I mean, born and raised in Spanish Harlem. And I tell people I was here before it was cool. Now it's cute. Now it's everyone lives here, but I was here way before it was cute to live in Spanish Harlem. But Spanish Harlem made me the man that I am. So there are a lot of times when I'm sitting in these situations, like certain boardrooms and certain investment meetings and certain pitches, and I feel no fear. And my team always would ask me why. And I'm like, because I come from a different world where you step outside and anything might happen. But in the world that I'm in now, I got to propel myself and get to empower my community, of course, and do different things. So Harlem made me who I am. Like, I'll never deny that I'm from here, still living in Spanish Harlem, still in El Barrio. Because I like to say, as Harlem evolved, I evolved. So I was fortunate that things are changing around me and I'm getting to, become a different man myself as well.
That's so awesome. I can relate. I'm from El Barrio myself. We roll like that off camera too. Just to give you guys a little insight, right? Because the fact of the matter is that it's like the generation, right? This next generation of development and how the development is influencing. Because unfortunately, East Harlem is getting some bad rap on through the press. So it's lovely to share these stories of inspiration to show that it's not all bad, right? And so thank you for sharing that it all started there. And please do, from the most authentic place, share how it wasn't an overnight process, right? Here we are in 2022 and you've got this distribution that is quite lovely and expansive, but it didn't start like that.
Yeah, to give you the quick background of who Joe Cruz Jr. is as the liquor professional, I started in liquor stores. I wound up buying a liquor store. I worked in the distribution as a merchandiser for a year, then a salesman for 10 years. On my 10-year anniversary, I said, I'm bored. I want to do something different. So I went to a tiny supplier. And when I say tiny, I mean, without touching my fingers, it was that small. And I went from running New York to the East Coast to the national marketing guy. Then I woke up August 26, 2015, 7:30 in the morning and retired. And every company came after me. They were pouncing upon me. And I knew why, because I was a light-skinned Puerto Rican from the hood. So I can go downtown Manhattan and people felt good being around me. I could go into the projects and people felt good being around me. So I could transition to both worlds seamlessly. So when it came to building a brand, if you wanted to go urban, general market, I was kind of the guy. But when it was time for me to do my own thing, it was more about my son and myself because I'm a single dad. So I raised my son. His mother and grandmother's family always helped. I'm not saying I was by myself in this, but he was with me for a lot of his life. And when I woke up, I made 3 phone calls. The first was to my son, because I was in Orlando, Florida, while he was with his grandmother. And it's a Friday, 7:30 during the summer. My son did not want to hear from me. I call him, he's like, what's up, Dad? And I'm like, look, son, I'm going to create a brand from scratch. And he's like, what does that even mean? And I'm like, every time I buy you a video game, somebody makes money off of that. So when I'm spending the money, they're getting the money. I want to be on the other side of that when it comes to the beverage side. And my son's like, I get it, Dad, you're going to be huge. I said, if it doesn't work.
How old was he at that time? How old was he?
He was 14, actually. Yeah, in junior high school, just starting high school. Now he's in college, 19-year-old to college. My son, who made my life easy, was the reason YaVe is so successful because he never gave me problems, told me he was going to get a full scholarship to his favorite school, walked in one day, threw the paper on my lap, and I'm like, oh, you did it. This is what we do, son. We say it and we do it. But then it was just about building the brand and showing, everybody anything is possible. Of course, our tagline is unlock possibility. And the reason that is because there's a key on every single bottle. So when you say YaVe, there's an actual key. But that was because when I was designing with one of my best friends, Brett, who grew up on 115th between 1st and Pleasant Avenue, we designed the bottle together. So two Harlem products designed the bottle that people love so much. When I was explaining it to him what it was, I designed the bottle for bartenders. It fits in a well, fits in a rack. Try to think of the industry as a whole. But more importantly, that key meant everything because I wanted to open a door for others. So that's how the key thing started. I said that to Brad and he said, let's use a key. And I said, yeah, that makes sense. It's so simple. And he did it. And that's how the key was born.
Oh my gosh. And I got to tell you that the tagline is an affirmation. And I do want to just go back a little bit and just send my utmost admiration to you for being a single dad. I mean, that it's something that really is, I've taken in deeply because you took that role very, very seriously, and your son's productivity is accolades to your development as well. So it's like a nice balance of like, yeah, you built a brand and you also developed another human being to be successful in his own respective area. So that shouldn't go overlooked. I just want to go a little bit. No, it's awesome. Awesome.
And the whole thing started with $20,000. So for people who say you need a lot of money to start this, no, I did all the paperwork myself. My apartment was my office. It all literally started on a sofa in Spanish Harlem. When I say that, I'm not exaggerating. You hear about these big companies starting in a garage. Those guys had a house and they were able to go to garage. I didn't have that. I had to go from my room to my living room every morning and just work and figure this thing out. And the reason that was so important is because most people start with celebrities and they start with millions. I wanted to prove literally that anything is possible. And we say in Spanish, of course, we say ya tú sabes. Our Spanish tagline is ya tú YaVe. So there's a lot of plays on the whole YaVe thing. It's trying to be motivational and positive all the time. Like I said, I'm the liquor guy. Like I'm the guy supposed to bring some positive energy. I'm not curing COVID. I'm not stopping wars. Thank God. I'm in a more positive light. And I want to empower others with the access that I have because true power is empowering others.
All right, so let's talk about where you are now, right? So we already went through the whole starting from scratch in your Spanish Harlem apartment and going from room to room, investing $20,000, taking everything you've got and putting it into it, establishing, I guess, a relationship in Mexico, what that looks like, and then how you were able to start, because from what I read, you actually were selling them independently at first.
Yeah, I literally was selling everything out of a backpack and trunk of my car. So the first, I believe in 2-year increments, because my favorite quote of all time is Abraham Lincoln said, if you gave me 8 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend 6 hours sharpening my axe. So everything was done by design. So I do things in 2-year increments. The first 2 years was creating YaVe, the literal creation from the bottle to the liquid, etc. The next 2 years was what we call the backpack days, but laying the foundation. So it was me and a few guys with backpacks on the train, delivering cases, picking up checks, all the things that people don't see, all the glamorous stuff that people will never know happens. I talk about that because I don't want people to think I woke up one day and YaVe was in 10 states and about to go worldwide. So it started with that, sold everything ourselves. Then the next 2 years was the distribution phase, which was the last 2 years, where we started to get distribution in New York City, New York State, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, DC, Maryland, South Carolina, about to open up Delaware, working on Florida, Georgia. There's a lot more happening. But it started from where it started, but it was all about the marathon for me, the progression. So the next 2 years, because we're in the 7th and 8th year, of course, that quote 6 to 8, it's all about the explosion now. So now we're going to different markets. We're going overseas in some capacity, working on the Caribbean and some other things abroad. But more importantly, I wanted people to see the struggle because everybody sees that Instagram moment. They don't see what it took to get to that moment. So I want to show people those moments. So when you see me posing, you see me with celebrities, you see me with your favorite artist or social media influencer, it took me a while to get there. And I'm still climbing. Like, I'm not going to say I'm at the top. I'm nowhere near the top right now. But again, it's a marathon. So every step is important. It's happening, man. I always knew I'd be here, but it's still surreal to be here, no matter what happens.
I know. I love that about you. You stay humble. But before we go, I do also want to make sure that our viewers understand that it's available to them in our local restaurants, right? Because that's another beautiful thing that you've been doing is you've been making sure that you've established relationships with our small businesses, our local restaurants. So I understand that you just locked a deal with Choco Bar Cortez in the Bronx.
And I posted about that. So to find YaVe Tequila, you go on the website, YaVeTequila.com. We have a store locator. All the bars, restaurants, clubs, liquor stores, you can find it near you. You literally press the button and it shows you all the stores around you. But the amazing thing about Choco Bar was Sulma, who we all know, she's a legend, Sulma Sue Brown, she's family to me. She walks in there on a Tuesday. She meets Carlos, they speak, they have a good conversation. He tells him about YaVe. He says, I want to meet him. I heard the story. I come in on a Wednesday. I pitch him, his whole staff loves it. He orders on a Thursday. It comes in on a Friday. I'm hanging out for brunch on a Sunday. That's how simple support should be. Like, I don't have the biggest budgets in the world, but I have enough money. I can come in and bring some people and spend some money. And he got it immediately. And the cool thing that he said, he asked me, he said, you in Puerto Rico? I said, I'm working on it now. He said, I want Choco Bar Cortez in Puerto Rico to be your first account. And I'm like, it should be this simple. This is love. This is Latino love at its best, because if we don't support one another, who the hell will? And he did it. I give him props. I went that day. I have tons of people that have gone there in the past week. And he's like, dude, you have like 20, 30 people, because that's what YaVe does. I'm not going to come swipe my credit card, but I'm going to bring a bunch of people, spend some money, and it's going to be reoccurring. And that's why it was so important. The way he treated me and the love that he showed was awesome. They make a mango margarita, which will be on the menu. And that's so important because the world's first mango tequila was dedicated to mi abuela. When Wella passed away, I wanted to dedicate something to her so she lived forever. And when I created that, it was a first. I did it from here, not from here, and it worked. And now that's one of our top selling SKUs.
All right, Jackie, you mentioned the mango. Why don't you mention the rest of the flavors before we go?
Well, we have a Blanco, first brand that went back-to-back gold medals in damn near every competition. We have the world's first mango, of course. That's the actual bottle with the key on it. We have a jalapeno, which is sabor de jalapeno. It doesn't burn too much because we take the seeds out. So it's the flavor without that overpowering kick. We have a reposado, which is the Blanco aged for 8 months in a barrel. And then coming back April 1st is coconut, dedicated to my mother, single mother who raised me. So everything has a reason with me, and it's working.
Que rico. All right, there you got it. I hope you guys are catching the spirits, because I know I am. Joe Cruz Jr. of YaVe Tequila, mi gente. And for more on YaVe Tequila, you can visit YaVeTequila.com and also on IG at YaVe Tequila. And if you want to learn more about Joe, you can visit him on IG at The Real Joe Cruz Jr. All right, we have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll speak to an artist that uses Black expressionism and stories about the first generation American experience to influence her art. Don't go anywhere.